And we're going to be breaking it down by substrate. So how much can you expect to paint for the walls only, for the ceiling, if you're looking to add the trim, how much is for a closet and stuff like this.
Hi, and welcome back to the Exceptional Painting Podcast. My name is Tanner.
My name is Mihai, and today we're going to be talking about how much does it cost to paint the interior of a home in Sudbury. We're going to go over what it takes to price it, factors that influence the price. We're not going to be talking about how we price it or what's our pricing. We're just going to go into a general kind of an average and an in-between, like what you can expect the pricing to be from the various painting companies in Sudbury.
Yeah, so what you'll get is we'll give you an average cost or a range for a small house, a medium-sized house, a large house, and then an office space. And we can give you an idea of
we're going to be talking about a kind of like a room. And we're going to be breaking it down by substrate. So how much can you expect to paint for the walls only, for the ceiling, if you're looking to add the trim, how much is for a closet and stuff like this, just to give you a broader idea of what you can expect to pay, right? So then at least when you are thinking about a painting project, then you're not going in blindly and you're shocked by the price or you don't know what goes in it. So hopefully you'll find some value in this. And again, this is not necessarily our pricing, but it's a range between a budget to mid-range painters to a premium painting company cost.
Yeah, and you'll also see kind of what you can expect, and if it does fall anywhere, significantly lower than the price range that we do give you, it might be a red flag, and you can definitely look into it a little bit more to find out why the prices are as low as they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important to understand the costs up front and what you can kind of expect, because if you do get somebody that gives you a price that, let's say, seems too good to be true, it probably is, right? So there's a couple gimmicks that contractors do out there where they would give a very low price and then just to get the job, and then at the end of the job you're going to be buried with extras and this was not included, this was not included, this is going to cost you more. So you end up paying just as much as you would be paying for a premium company, but maybe you're getting just a subpar result.
Yeah, and stick around till the end, because at the end we are going to be giving you some information about when the best time for you to paint is, and
how can you save money.
Yeah, exactly.
So we should just start by mentioning like what influences the price, right? Like what are the factors that go into pricing a home?
Yeah, so you're looking at, obviously, the size of the home is going to matter. And then you get into things like complexities, having to do with the types of trim that you have, the height of the ceilings, the number of angles on the walls, and you might also run into higher costs if you are doing multiple colors. One or two colors is going to make it a little bit easier for your contractor to organize and complete the project. If you start getting into 3, 4, 5, or more colors, then obviously that means more materials be used and there's a little bit more complexity to it. So
yeah, I mean, accent walls usually add something, because it's different to paint a room with all walls the same color, and it puts a stop into your productivity when you have to do 3 walls, then stop and then go with another color, right? Plus you have 2 setups of rollers and brushes and all that stuff. So accent walls definitely
add a little bit.
Add a little bit.
And then, and if you're going with a color that's not going to cover in 2 coats, obviously there's going to be extra costs there. So yeah.
Other factors that can influence is if you have textured ceilings like popcorn or swirls or any other kind of texture, those add a little bit as well. The paint that you're going to be using, it's going to matter quite a lot versus whether it's a low budget paint like a contractor grade or it's a top of the line paint. That's going to make a difference. Now, also the substrates that you're painting, are you painting only the walls? Is it just a quick color change? Are you doing a full on painting project where you're painting the ceilings, the baseboards, windows, all the doors? How rough are those those baseboards and those doors, do they need to be caulked? Is there nail holes that maybe haven't been filled before and they have to be filled? So all these things add quite a bit, right?
Yeah, and we should mention major repairs too. If you have water damage or if there's areas that you have to fill like a larger hole or
cracks
things like that.
Yes. So enough on this. Probably we don't want to bore people with all this stuff.
No, let's get to the pricing.
Yes. So what's included in a paint job? What should be included in a paint job price?
Yeah, so if you're talking about exceptional painting with us, I know that we're going to include repairs to the walls. We do offer different prep levels, but typically we go with the prep level 2, which is where we're going to be filling anything that you can see with a construction light. We will be filling cracks, large holes, dings, scratches, things like that.
When you're getting a painting quote, what you want to make sure that you get, it's a clear description of what you're going to be getting with that paint job. Is there any prep involved? If it is, how in depth is that prep? Because you can say, yeah, we're doing prep, and you just fix the holes and major cracks, but maybe you're not going for nail pops and other stuff. So make sure that there's a clear description of that on what it includes. How many coats are being applied to the surfaces? What surfaces are there being painted? So for example, if you're doing a bedroom, make sure that it specifies that it paints the walls, it will paint the ceilings, if there's any trim involved. Is it the baseboards? Is it the window frames? Is it everything? How many coats? Are there going to be any prep done to them, right? Like, are they going to be caulked? Are they going to be wood filled if they need it? So all these things, at the end of the job, it's going to save you so much headache, because there's nothing wrong that you getting a price and expecting that you're going to get everything done, to how you envision it. And then in the end, you're getting like just some paint thrown on the walls and on the surfaces and nothing being fixed. So make sure that all these things are discussed up front, and you know exactly what you're paying for. This is one of the things that that can make a big difference between the quotes too, right? If everybody comes out, or you have 3 contractors and they all just send you a contract with a quote and a price without any description of what's being done, and one, let's say it's 1,000, one is 2,000, one it's 3,000, then how are you going to know what everybody does? So by having a clear description in there, then at least you can ensure that you're comparing apples to apples and you know what you're getting. And if you're getting a price that's significantly lower with no real description, then I would be very worried about that.
Yeah, and that should be across the board, all the details, what type of paint they're using.
What type of paint, how the paint is going to be applied, whether it's a brush and roll, whether it's spraying for different substances. Is there going to be any cleanup involved? Are they covering everything? Are they taking the plate covers off, putting them back? Like all these little things, taking lights down, moving furniture, that's a big one. Is there any warranty involved with the painting contract? That's a really big one, as there are a lot of companies out there that they just have the boot warranty. The moment you're out the door and you got paid, that's it. See you next time in 10 years when you need another project or something. So make sure you're paying close attention to all this, so you're not being taken for a ride and you don't have one of those horror stories that we keep on hearing around.
Okay, so let's start with the pricing.
Yes.
Why don't you give us a breakdown of what it would cost to do a small home, which is about 1,250 square feet on average?
So a 1,200 square feet home, you're looking, if you're looking to paint the walls only, you're looking somewhere between 2,800 to 4,200 plus the paint plus HST. So that range there, it's from like a lower priced company, or maybe it's a owner operator where they don't have a lot of overhead, or their pricing might be lower, or whatever the reason is, to a premium painting company like ourselves. Like we pride ourselves to be a premium painting company with what we're offering, so we're usually at the top of the of this tier. We're constantly finding that out, that we are the most expensive ones wherever we go, and which is fine, because we're, I think it goes both for ourselves as for the customers. It's the value that we're adding, it's not the price. And we're keep on getting that over and over. Yeah, you guys are more expensive, but my God, do you guys ever do a lot and go beyond and beyond, above and beyond, and you do get the value that you're painting for. If you're looking to get the ceilings done as well, you're looking to about 1,500 to 2,300 to 2,500. Now, this depends whether it's high ceilings or it's textured ceilings. Or I should mention that the prices for what that we're giving here, they're for 2 coats. They include the prep work, so it's like a good prep work. It's not just paint. It includes the prep work. It includes prepping the house, covering, masking everything, and all these things. And the ceiling height would be 8 feet on this one. So if the ceiling height is higher, you have 10 feet ceilings, or you have an area that goes to 17 feet or stuff like that. Yeah, that will change the price, right? This is just for an 8-foot high ceiling. If you want to add the trim and doors, you're looking for another between 1,700 and 2,500. So that includes the door frames, it includes the baseboards, it includes the windows, and it includes the doors. Again, in this price range, you should be getting caulking done. This is not, it's assuming that it's existing trim, right? So it's not brand new, because that's a whole different ballgame. There you really have to fill every single hole and caulk the cracks and everything. So what does this involve? It's, everything has been done before. You had them caulked, wood filled, but maybe with time that caulk just cracked, or maybe, there's some nail holes that haven't been filled properly, or maybe the wood moved and they're visible again. So it includes all the prep, and it includes the painting. None of these prices includes the paint or HST. Just please bear that in mind.
And are we talking, just to clarify, are these prices in addition, or are these including all the substrates right now?
No, this is per substrate.
Oh, these are per substrate. Gotcha.
Yeah, so the walls, you're looking 2,800 to 4,200, ceilings between 1,500 and 2,300, and then baseboards, windows, and doors between 1,700 and 2,500. So the total that you'd be looking for a 1,250 square foot home should be between 6,000 and 9,000 plus the paint plus HST. For a house that's a medium house, that it's like a 2,000 square feet home, this is kind of like an average home that you would get around. For this, it's exactly the same like the previous one. 8 feet high ceilings, full prep, no paint, no HST. So for the walls, you'd be looking between 4,500 and 6,500. The ceilings would be between 2,500 and 4,000. If you're looking for the trim and doors, you're looking between 2,500 and 4,000. And the total range of medium home would be between 9,500 and 14,500 plus paint plus HST. Again, if these averages are calculated based on industry averages, and they account for pluses or minuses in terms of different painting companies that you'd find around. So if you get anything that would be below this, then I would seriously question that, as there's definitely some
shenanigans.
Yeah, or there's some corners being cut, or maybe you're getting only one coat of paint, or maybe you're not getting any prep. And again, we don't want to say that necessarily you're getting a lower price. Maybe that person is shady, or they're trying to rip you off. But it could also be that they don't really know how to price a job, and they throw the price out, and then when they actually start the project, they realize that, oh my God, I didn't charge enough. I'm not making any money. I need to cut some corners here and there.
Sure,
nobody's gonna see this. We're just gonna do this, right? So
I'm Sure, that type of thing happens when painters first start out and they're trying to figure out how to price things.
Well, it's either when painters first start out or when it's when painters don't really care to learn more than they already know, right? They know that, I know how to paint and that's fine enough and we'll see how we do. So then you're like, oh my God, I'm losing so much money on this job. I didn't price enough. I didn't see this. I didn't see that and all that stuff.
So you might be looking at some surprise costs at the end of that one.
Surprise costs, or sometimes if, they don't really have the nerve to ask for more money, then they're going to start cutting corners, right? Because it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to spend a whole month in here doing this when I know I'm not making any money. So how can I get out of here sooner? What kind of, maybe I can go to a different paint and, put it in a paint can that's more expensive and stuff like that. We've heard a lot of these stories. I think we've pretty much heard them all. So,
yeah.
The last one would be a large home, which I think this is one of the homes that you'd find in most of the new subdivisions around Sudbury. It will be a 3,000 square feet home. It's a 2 levels. It's got an open concept upstairs. It's got a couple bedrooms upstairs, 2 bathrooms, a set of stairs. In the basement, you have a larger rec room and a laundry room, and maybe there's another room in there. For a house this size, you'd be looking between 7,000 and 10,500 for the walls, just to have your walls painted. This is plus paint plus HST. If you're looking to add the ceilings, you're looking between 3,500 and 5,500 plus the paint plus HST. Trim and doors would set you back another 4,000 to 6,000. So the total range for a house like this would be somewhere between 15,000 and 22,000 plus paint plus HST to have absolutely everything painted. So that pretty much concludes like the three main sizes of homes that you'll find around. And obviously, if your house is bigger or if you have different ceiling heights or the price might vary quite a bit. For you have crown molding, you have other elements like wainscoting, or you have textured walls, or you got a lot of fireplaces with very intricate brick to cut around and stuff like that. It will all add.
So next we're gonna get into just like a room by room basis.
Just a room, yes. So we found that an average room in Sudbury would be a 12 by 12 room with an 8-foot ceilings, which is kind of like your average bedroom, right? So for a bedroom like this, you're looking to pay between $250 and $450 for the walls. Again, this depends on which painting company you're going with and what you're getting for that service. The ceilings would be between $100 and $220. Baseboards would be between $100 and $150. One door and a door frame, you're looking somewhere in between $100 and $150. Again, this is all for 2 coats with the prep, not including the paint and HST. A window will be somewhere between $50 and $100. A closet, a regular closet that you find in a bedroom, would be somewhere between $100 and $150. So a price range for an average bedroom in Sudbury would be between $750 and $1,100 plus the paint plus HST. That's
It's a pretty good average.
It's a pretty good average, and anything below that, then be very wary.
So when we get into bathrooms and laundry rooms, obviously there's a little bit more cutting involved.
So the bathrooms and laundry rooms are probably one of the most difficult areas to cut. First of all, let's talk about bathrooms. So they're a little bit more crammed. There's a lot of things to cut around. You gotta get in very tight and personal with the toilet and hug it to get behind. There's usually silicone around the bathtub, around the sink, around the shower. You got towel racks. You got toilet rack.
And all that stuff has to be removed and then put back up. So,
yes. Yeah. So even though it's a smaller area, just expect to paint close to what a room would cost, right? Obviously, maybe not quite as much because the ceiling it's smaller. The baseboards there's less trim. But for the walls in general, you would be paying about the same as you would be paying for an average bedroom. Laundry rooms, the same thing. They have a level of complexity they're usually smaller. They got a big washer and dryer. They got some shelves or cabinets or stuff like that. Same thing. It makes it a little bit harder, and the price would pretty much be kind of the same like a bathroom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then when we talk about kitchens, obviously you've got cabinets to get around.
Yeah. So a big misconception about kitchens is that because the cabinets are covering the majority of the walls, it's gonna cost significantly lower than a bedroom or than an average room, right?
Yeah.
It does take quite a bit more skill to be able to cut around the cabinets and not get anything on it, and it's also a little bit harder to get above them to cut the walls. To paint the walls behind it. So all those factors, they influence greatly. So a kitchen usually you'd expect to pay about the same as an average room.
Yeah, and then every other room. We're looking at the size of the room. Typically, as you said, like a living room isn't going to be too complicated unless there's a fireplace with some intricate cutting that goes around there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's probably going to be more windows and things like that, so you have to factor stuff like that in as well. But yeah, we can go basically, you got your average bedroom, and that's going to apply to other rooms as well, with a variable size difference, obviously. And then you got your laundry room and your bathrooms.
Yeah.
A little bit more complicated depending on whether or not there's a shower. And then you've got the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So, and we can kind of go with those.
So a rule of thumb that I usually recommend to people, if you kind of want to get, a ballpark of what your home would cost, just think of every single area in your home as a bedroom. So if you have a large open concept, okay, how many bedrooms can I fit in this? And, it's kind of like a little trick that, will give you kind of in the ballpark, a rough ballpark, right?
Yeah.
But if you do want to get a quote, just reach out to a painting company, do your research, try to figure out what type of service you're looking to get. Do you just want a quick makeover where you don't really care about everything, or do you want to get like a premium makeover where everything's gonna be redone kind of to a brand new look? So look for the painter that you want, reach out to them and have them give you a quote and go from there.
Yeah, and then of course there's always the option to do it yourself, and in which case the price is your time.
Minimal, yes. Well, usually that's the case.
No GST.
Yeah, but how much does your time cost, right?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could do it yourself if you're handy and you know what you're doing, and that's definitely not a.
Yeah, and then it's a small investment, but it's an investment nonetheless. You got to buy all the materials, all the supplies, and things like that. So if this is something that you plan on doing for the rest of your life, sure, it's absolutely worth it. If it's a one-off, typically it's probably not worth the effort of learning how to paint and getting all the materials and stuff like that. So
and then you also have to think of what you're trying to paint, because it's very different to paint a bedroom and very different to paint high entrance with stairs and stuff like that. So if you don't have the tools or the knowledge, it's probably not a great thing to risk your life or risk getting injured just for that. So I would call a professional painting company at that point, because they know how to handle it. They have the tools. They probably done it a million times, and overall you're going to get a lot better finish.
All right. So moving on from that, we got tips for budgeting your painting project.
All right. So I would say the first thing is to decide what you need painted, right? Like really know what you want. Prioritize the areas that you want painted. If you want your entire home, then that's fine. Nothing to think about it. Just get somebody to give you a price and just go with it. But if you're on a budget, or you don't really want to spend too much money, or maybe you don't have the time to do everything this year, or it is a pretty disruptive process. So you want to also think at your living situation while the process is going, right? Because you don't want to have your entire house upside down if you have 5 kids at home, and
exactly.
So think of what needs to be done, prioritize everything, and then just get somebody in and get a quote for it.
Yeah, and then another one would be if you are planning on getting multiple areas done, it is better to get them all done at once. You can save some money like that, right? Now, we were just saying, don't get your whole house done at the same time. However, if a painter doesn't have to come back, or any contractor really, if a contractor of any type can come to your house and complete the entire job all at once, well, that's going to save them on their travel time, setting up, cleaning up, all that stuff, right? So
it also saves on the logistics, right? Because if you do have to come back on a project, it's actually 2 projects that you gotta manage and schedule and all that stuff. So if you are planning to do your entire house, it's better to do it at once rather than in 2 shots. But then again, that all depends on the budget and all that stuff. Consider the time that you want to do your project as well. Chances are that if you want to do your home in the spring, summer or fall, expect to pay a little bit more, because that's the busy seasons for the majority of the painting companies. That's when exterior season is upon us. That's when everybody's thinking of painting and everything. So that's the busiest time for painting contractors. Like, I know for us, we don't change our pricing based on the seasonality, but I know a lot of other people do. And it's the same thing you get with airlines and everywhere else. Whenever it's the busiest time, just expect to pay a little bit more. So we recommend, if budget is a problem, then maybe consider having your painting project done in the winter months when everything slows down. Because, I mean, we're talking about our company. Usually the slowest months for us are December and January, I would say, because painting, it's pretty invasive, as I said. Yeah. Before the holidays, nobody really wants you in their home unless they have a burning desire. They have family coming over.
Let's say they're hosting and they're looking around their house and they're like, I need to fix this up a little bit.
Yeah, so that would be one of the only options. But otherwise, it's generally a very slow season for the painting contractors, or I think for the construction industry as a whole, right? So pay close attention to those periods. Maybe ask the painting company that you want to go with if budget is a problem and you got a price and it's too much. Maybe just ask, is there a discount if I book this work in your slow months? Because most of the time there will be a discount. Yeah. So you can save money that way, or maybe ask the contractor if they can be put on a short list of if they have a project cancellation, and they'd be okay with short notice, right? That's usually a big one, because I mean, things happen all the time. Somebody, decides to, or there's a project scheduled for Monday, and then the Sunday night you get an email that, somebody dear passed away and we can't do it anymore. And that would be very handy to have a job like that people would be able to get you in short notice. And usually contractors are willing to give deep discounts for these ones, right? Because it's either that or you have no work for your people. So
so that's just a few ways that you can save money. Now you've got a basic idea of how much it's going to cost you per square foot, per substrate. So you got a rough idea of all that. We're going to go into some frequently asked questions now. One, I think that is really important for anybody who is thinking about getting any type of contracting or painting done specifically, is how do I make sure that I'm getting an accurate quote?
So I think this would start in the planning phase when you're doing your research on the contractor that you want to do, or the painting company that you want to go with. You want to find out what goes into their pricing. How do they price? Is it just a phone conversation and you saying that I have a 2,000 square feet home, how much is this going to cost, and you get a price right then and there? That's probably not very accurate. What you'd want to do, you want to make sure that when you're getting a price, the company that's giving you a price measures your home, come to your home and measures all the areas, or at least they ask you to provide them with the measurements or with the floor plan and pictures or something like that, just to be able to make an informed decision, I guess, on the price and know exactly how much goes into that house, right? How many doors do you have? What's the layout? What's the height of the ceilings? Is there any trim? What type of trim is it? What model? What design? Right? And all this stuff. So you want to make sure that the quote is done based on the actual numbers of your home, whether it's square footage of the floor, or the total square footage of the drywall, or whatever it is, however they do it. But
there's a million ways to skin a cat.
There's
right?
a million ways, but usually try to be very wary about somebody just walking around and just trying to
ballpark it
to ballpark it, because that's all it is. It's a ballpark, right? If you don't have the real numbers, then it's a ballpark.
Yeah, and I would also look for things like, are they specifying what type of paint that they're using? Specifying the number of coats that you're getting. There should be some very specific details in there, because otherwise you're going to get stuck with maybe, one coat, or they didn't paint, one of the substrates or whatever, right?
And, I would also urge to make sure that you're not getting 2 coats on this and this is the paint. And that's it, right? Because then it's well, what's included in there? Are the closets included? It's my laundry room included? It's, or is it just the main area? So have a little bit of a structure, right? Make sure that you know exactly what you're getting for that price. And I think that pretty much concludes that. I don't know that.
Yeah. So next one would be should I be expecting any hidden costs, and what would those be at the end of the paint job or mid paint job?
Well, I think hidden costs, that's a red flag, right? It shouldn't be any hidden cost. If you are paying something at the end, it should be because you added something, or maybe there was an unforeseen situation. Let's say you put paint on the walls and the previous layers of paints, they're all swell or they fall off, or something that, it's not necessarily the contractor fault, but it's an issue that was there from before. Or maybe you select a paint color that doesn't cover the current color in the number of coats specified in the quote. That would be an extra charge, right?
Yeah. And so as a customer, you want to make sure, again, that you're getting all those specifications up front, right?
Yeah, you want to know what you're getting yourself into. So ask these questions. Okay, well, what happens if the color doesn't cover, right? What happens if I want to add another room? Can I add another room? Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have the time to do it when you're doing the project, or will you have to come at a later date? But going back to hidden costs and stuff, a professional painting company that really cares about the customer and stuff would put everything up front, right?
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you get absolutely everything. The price you're getting in the beginning in the quote should be the price that you pay at the end, unless you're adding something, or like we said, something like this happens.
Yeah, and I think that a good painting contractor will just let you know in advance, hey, this might be a thing that could happen. And just a very basic example, you've chosen a color that may not cover in 2 coats, and we're going to put them on, but if there is a need for a 3rd coat, just letting you know in advance. That's a possibility.
I think a really good painter or good painting company would realize that when the customer communicates the color, right? And you got the color, you know what color is on the wall. So maybe it would be nice to get a warning that, hey, based on our experience, this is what we're noticing. This color, we're almost sure that it won't cover in 2 coats, and this would be this much more money to put a 3rd coat. Are you okay with that? Or maybe you want to change the color? This would be nice to be done before you start the job and all the paint is bought and everything, because maybe you as a customer, you've been advised to get that color from somebody, and maybe you don't really know, maybe you don't care, you can go 2-3 shades lighter, and then that's going to save you about 50% of the cost of painting that surface, right?
And on the other hand, if you are dead set on that color and you're being told, hey, this may not cover, but at least you know in advance. Hey, look,
at least you know how to prepare.
Yeah, there might be a 3rd coat.
Can I reduce costs by doing some of the prep work myself? I'll let you answer this one.
This is tricky. The prep work, it may seem easy. You probably get, thinking, I'll just patch here and there, and I'll use my block sander and I'll knock off the ridges and everything. A lot of times what that ends up doing is creating more work for your painters. The truth is that it is simple to do a patch, but it's not necessarily easy to get a good result. So doing the prep work yourself, if you're inexperienced with that, I don't think you're really going to save any money. And if you do end up saving money because you've made some sort of agreement where I'm going to do all the prep work myself, all I want you to do is come in and paint. They come in and they say, look, these are not done properly. We're going to have to fix these, right? Or you could do the, sacrilegious thing and say, no, just paint over them.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up with a really bad paint job. We've seen this before. So it's something that you might actually want to avoid.
Yes. And what would be other factors that will help you to reduce cost by prep? I mean, you could take the plate covers off. You could take the lights down. You can... maybe
curtain rods and stuff like that.
Curtain rods and stuff like this. Move furniture. I mean, you can cover the floors, I guess, right? If you can make sure that everything is covered in the rooms and the painters can just come in and do their thing. That's also good. Usually, what I think the biggest cost, it's in the prep work to do it. If you're good at it and you know what you're doing, then that's a really good idea. But if you don't know what you're doing, then it's probably you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're going to be spending some money, and the result that you're going to get might not be as good.
Okay, so how long does interior painting typically take? Is another question that we get a lot.
I guess it depends on the painting company. It depends on how many people there in your home. It depends on the size of the painting company. So if you get a person that they're the only ones painting, it also depends on how efficient and how good that person is. Because I mean, we know people, and we have people on our staff that could probably finish a house in 2 weeks themselves, right?
Yep.
And then there's other people that maybe might take them a month and a half.
Yeah.
But our suggestion is try to find the best painting company that suits your needs. So if you have a very large project, try to get a painting company that has the manpower to complete your project in a shorter period of time, because you definitely don't want to be in that mess for a couple months.
I think that you can get yourself into a little bit of a situation sometimes if you are going for just the lowest price and you go with a company that maybe is just only one guy or two guys, but you're doing your whole house, and next thing you know, he's living there. Well,
either that, or you can get a company that comes and starts in the project and then takes off and comes back in another 3-4 days or after. So very, very important to do your research before you're hiring somebody. But just to kind of give people like a time frame as well, just so we don't leave this vague. If you have 2 bedrooms to paint, that should, it depends what you're painting. And if you're just doing the walls, that should be like a 1-day project. If you're doing everything, ceilings and trim, that should be like a 2-day project. So if you have a whole house, and let's say you have an average of 3 painters in the house, and if you're just doing the walls, you're probably looking at about 2-3 days. If you're doing the entire thing, you're probably looking at about somewhere between 5 and 8 or 9.
You're talking walls, ceiling,
I'm talking about
trim,
everything.
Doors,
trim. So
everything.
You're looking somewhere between 5 and 8, 9, 10 business days, depending on the size, depending on the skill of the company and of the painters. So, roughly, a house shouldn't take longer than 2 weeks to paint a regular home, right? I'm talking about a large home, a 3,000 square feet home. But then it depends on how many people.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess just a recap of everything. So we've covered your basic, your rough costs, your price ranges for all the different substrates and rooms and everything. We got into some ways that you can save money, times of the year that you can book, look for promotions, look for slow periods, things like that. That'll help you to save money. Is there anything else that we need to...
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. The only final thing that I want to mention, and then I want to urge people to do it, is just do your research before you get a painting company for your project, right? Because it's pretty expensive. Like it's definitely not a cheap project to do, and you definitely don't want to pay the money and not get the results that you want.
So, if you think about it, painting really is about getting the nicest result possible. Otherwise, why are you painting?
Well,
right?
That's everything you see, right? We see this. We see this all the times with with new homes where you put the best into everything, into the walls, into the foundation, into everything, and then the last step and the one that you see the most at the end, the painting, it's everybody's skimping on it because either they go past the budget or they don't really care, and it's unfortunate because that's what you see every day when you get home.
Yeah, so. Exactly. All right. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully you got some good information from this and it's helpful for you in making a decision about how you're going to proceed with painting projects in the future.
If you are looking for a painting project or you have a painting project in mind, then we're one of the companies that you kind of included in your consideration, in your maybe. Please do reach out to us. We're more than happy to come give you a quote or send you our virtual quote form where you can fill up all your information and we can put the quote together for you. You can reach us at 705-698-5702 or send us a message from our website or on our email, office@exceptionalpainting.ca, or just send us a message on any of the social media. We're pretty much everywhere. It's very easy to find, or just Google Exceptional Painting Sudbury and you'll be able to find all our information. With all being said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope we were able to provide some value and some guidance, and we'll see you next time.